audio on demand from Vision Christian Media.
Exploring faith and the future. Neil Johnson and Bible teacher Dr. Camille Majdali.
Well, you might think it's a concern for church leaders that there are young people leaving the church, but it's not just church leaders who are concerned about that. Grandparents through to parents who are seeing their teenagers get to a point where they are leaving their faith and choosing a different path is a real concern. Camille, this is not a problem that only a few are facing. There's a lot of people in church life who are concerned about young people today.
Well, there is a lot of concern for young people, and for good reason. There's a few things. One is that statistically, there's a high rate of attrition of younger people born and raised in church life who some point in adolescence or when they're in university, they stop going to church. And in some ways, though they have the church background, they could build a deeper resistance to the things of church than even those that have never been churched. That is one concern. The other concern, of course, is a culture that is so, shall we say, into hyper-relativism, and that all ways are valid ways, no matter what it is, philosophically or religiously or so on. And this can, of course, lead to lots of confusion and dilution of faith, even by those younger people who are still in church. So yes, we have some challenges, Neil.
And of course, it's the friendship groups that young people make that help them to connect to church life and to be influenced by this wonderful gospel message, which is transforming not only for a short period in our lives, but for a whole lifetime.
I remember, Neil, when my children were just coming into adolescence, my pastor told me something I never forgot. And he said, now his children, they were high achievers, even though they only went to state schools. They were very high achievers. But he said he made it a point to get them into youth group and into what we call positive peer pressure, which often is what the youth group is meant to do, because they get a very negative peer pressure from schools. Christian schools are not as bad, but even in Christian schools, you can get unchurched or children who don't actually know God, and they will be heavily influenced by the world and can lead people astray. So the positive peer pressure is very, very important.
Often that comes through a youth group where there's not only that positive peer pressure that's coming from friends of the same age, but also from an extra person who helps in the family sense of being a role model for those young people.
I urge Christian leaders to befriend, or I've never coined this phrase before, befamily younger people in their groups. Many younger people need role models and even long for role models, an uncle figure, a father or mother figure, an auntie figure, or something like that. Now, there's risks involved because people can be very fluid with their relationship. They're your friend today and then they float off tomorrow. But I believe the good seed that you scatter in connecting and relating to a younger person will pay rich dividends. I mean, I look back, there were people in my life, they were the uncle and the auntie figures for me, spiritually. Sometimes they were seasonal, but at least they were there when I needed them. I have tried my best, Neil, to do the same for others, my students in times gone by, and of course people I meet in my travels. I urge anyone who cares about the future, cares about extending God's kingdom, cares about the younger generation, to invest the time to be as that uncle and auntie to them.
Faith and the Future with Neil Johnson and Dr. Camille Majdali from Teach All Nations. Find articles, videos and podcasts from Dr. Camille, plus today's and other episodes of Faith and the Future in the Vision app or at vision.org.au.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.